like we once spoke about some of the issues surrounding our academics, most especially in a country like Nigeria. And of course, I know you know Nigeria too well. So talking about some of the issues we have, it boils down to the fact that we do not have the right skill as individual. And even some who have the skill don't necessarily don't know how to connect themselves to the right opportunity. So stuff like that. And some of these things are things that we at Instinct Hub are trying to bridge. So we believe that we can learn competitive skills and everybody can have that avenue to take on the opportunity. So before we even dive into it, I will allow you to introduce yourself, because I think if I introduce you, I won't say everything, right? But just a little bit about Dr. Adams. He's once a lecturer here in Nigeria at Dangote Business School in Kano, which is Bayero University. That's actually where we got to know each other. And he's actually a great man and a very energetic person. And I'm sure that before the end of this conversation, you get to really understand what I'm talking about. Recently, he moved to Malaysia and is a senior lecturer at the University of Malaysia. So many things he's doing. And one of the reasons why we said he should come and talk to us. So before we throw him some of the questions we have, let us just allow him to do justice to himself, tell us who he is, and let us just get to know him in full time. So Doctor, over to you.
Okay, thank you so much, Mr. Noah. There's nothing much to add. You have actually introduced me. You have said who I am, who I was before today, how we met. So essentially, I think that does it. I may only just like to add that I am a tech enthusiast. I am everything futuristic, everything technology, everything how tech could be used to solve real world problem, everything how tech could be used to improve life, to improve community, to assess opportunities. Like you rightly alluded to, tech is a leveler. Tech is it's a powerful tool that makes things that ordinarily would not be to be. So those are the things that I'm really passionate about it. That I'm really passionate about. I will just add that I am also, in addition to being a senior lecturer, I am also the director of the university's Global Entrepreneurship Research and Innovation Center. The reason why I brought that in is just to let you and our viewers know that through that center, there's a whole lot of tech-related stuff that we're doing. Like right now, we just set up what we call Ignite Venture Innovation Lab. And that lab is essentially to help incubate tech-based startups. There are very few universities around the world that have such a thing. So, it is the vision of the Vice Chancellor, of course, based on my recommendation that the university take a lead in terms of, grooming young people that can leverage emerging technologies to solve real world problems, and then in the process, found startups. And I can tell you that since we started just barely about 6 months ago, we are beginning to see results. So maybe I will have opportunity to share that later. But in addition to incubating startups, we also do a whole lot of things in terms of employability training, where it's still very young. We're still just starting, just so I can connect what we're doing with what this discussion is about. We also assist our students to get them acquainted with what the industry is looking for in terms of skills, in terms of how to package yourself, how to present yourself. and so on and so forth. So maybe later on we can have opportunity to talk more about some of these things, but for now, I think we leave it at that. And by the way, thank you so much for inviting me for this opportunity. I am still a learner, I'm still growing. I don't know why I am qualified for this, but whatever you must have seen in us that convinced you that we have, some ideas to share. Well, thank you for that.
Okay, thanks a lot. Dr. Adams is very humble, and most times is even the kind of doctor that oftentimes he will tell you not to call him doctor, just call him by name. So sometimes if you see him try to cut down some of his rank, just know that is that humble aspect of him that is really working out. So cool. Thank you for joining us, Dr. Adams. But before we actually move on, there are questions that we need to be asking ourselves right now, like what is the essence of this conversation and what are we trying to achieve with this very conversation, just to set an overview of what the issue we are trying to solve. It is not something new that, according to Nigeria Bureau of Statistics, we have about 27.1% of Nigerians that are unemployed as at this point, even though the number is still increasing. So which means with the population of 200 million, this means that about 54.2 million people, millions of Nigerians are out of job. So they do not have job. All right. So taking it forward, and one of the crucial points is that every year, Nigeria, we produce about 500 graduates coming to compete with this same number of 27.1% of people without job. So you can imagine how this number increased day in, day out. And one thing to ask ourselves is, we didn't just start complaining about unemployment in 2020 or 2021. It has been something that we've been complaining about, and it is still there. So it means that whoever is in the university right now needs to be careful and needs to take this very, very serious. So how do you make sure that before you graduate, you're not part of the people, you're not part of this 27.1 people looking for a job and who don't really even know what the state of art for them will be. All right. So far, but the thing we want, I want you guys to understand is that so far, our educational system and curriculum is not really bringing solution. And the reason why you will see startups, you see tech enthusiasts doing all they could to resolve some of these issues. And the reason why we actually arrange this conversation. So some of the things you're going to be hearing from Dr. Adams based on his experience is ways that you can navigate as students. Like as students, how can you embrace technology skills? In fact, people have been mentioning technology skills. What is technology skill? He won't just be talking to you based on the fact that he wants to talk. He'll be sharing experience with you based on reality, based on things out there. Some of you might be in school right now, but the truth is, you do not really have an idea of what is going on out there, outside the world. So these are some of the things Dr. Adams will be sharing with us. And just to make this conversation a constructive one, we have like 5 questions that will be given to Dr. Adams, and he will be helping us to answer all of the questions. And in the event that there are questions, we'll find a way to also channel the questions to Dr. Adams. Then if it's something he needs to write in text for a reply, of course, doctor is going to do that. But in the meantime, just make sure that you adhere to all the information that will be given to you and pull them to practice at the end. So without further ado, let's just dive into the questions that we have. Just to start, Dr. Adams, what will you say? What will you say about the demand for technology skill sets? Like how will you rate it? What do you think about it? What should people be thinking about when it comes to technology skill sets, and what is the demand?
Okay, thank you for that, wonderful introduction and overview. You rightly hit the nail on the head. The issue of unemployment is a concerning issue globally and particularly in Nigeria. No thanks to COVID, the issue got almost spiraled out of control, starting from last year to the moment that we're speaking as we speak now. So it's a big issue. Take Africa generally, for instance. The level of unemployment has been a big issue for years, and also, like I mentioned, in Nigeria, I think in a way I think you have been quite generous with the statistics, the number that you mentioned. The situation is actually worse than that. I think the current number is actually 33 point something percent of Nigerian workforce is currently unemployed.
Interesting.
Yes, and we're not even talking about those that are underemployed. By underemployment, it means somebody that graduated that is supposed to be earning 200,000 naira minimum ends up earning like just 20,000 naira, languishing somewhere. So that's almost more like unemployed. But just to make it look like they are still in employment, they call that underemployed. Some people are those people that are actually underemployed, suffer quite a lot. If you're not employed, people around you will understand that you're not employed and nobody will be expecting. But once they hear that you are in unemployment, there's no excuse that you're going to give. People will expect a lot from you. So in a way, that puts you in a very tricky situation. So because of a lot of expectations, from of other people of you. So back to your question, the demand for digital skill around the world. There's a study conducted by International Labour Organization, I think 2019, that's even before COVID, that shows that, close to 700 million digital skills shortage around the world. That's almost like 1 billion, digital skills shortage around the world. And that's a pointer to the fact that, the world expects people that are coming into, the job market today, to have at least, the minimum of digital skill to be able to function, to be able to be valuable, to be able to add value to the system. So it's not just a Nigerian problem, but of course, when you look at the unique situation Nigeria has been in terms of consistent increase in the number of unemployed people, especially young people, we could say that, something urgent has to be done to make sure the situation gets better in Nigeria. So it's a big issue. The shortage of digital skill around the world is a big problem, but it also represents opportunity in my own view, especially for young people that are still in the university right now, that are thinking about what the future holds for them, that are thinking about what they will be doing by the time they are out of school. In any case, I think I need to quickly mention that there has been one way of thinking that has also contributed to this big unemployment issue over the years. And that way of thinking is that undergraduates, are supposed to just go in there, keep learning, learning all the theories, and only to, then get job in some future time. That way of thinking has contributed in a significant way to this problem. The reason why I said this is that the world that we live in today is such that, you are expected as a young person, you are expected to start, not only learn, but also start earning, start getting engaged, start solving problems, and start making yourself valuable and earning something right from the day you step your foot into university or into college of education or whatever the case is. So this idea that, there is a time to learn and there's a time to then, start looking for job, I think we need to do something about it because it has not helped the situation. So from my own perspective, I think the way it should be done is that university students should, or the system, university system should design the environment in such a way that undergraduate students are exposed to, job opportunities, are exposed to skill set, are exposed to quick opportunities for them to brush up, to learn skills that are required, to start earning something. Because the situation Nigeria is in right now is one that requires drastic measures. So we can't continue piling up graduates and hoping that someday, millions of jobs will just fall from the heaven. It will not happen. I think what we should do is to create an environment where, students, right from the very first year, can start engaging in problem-solving activities, can start engaging in, in things that will help them with practical skill that will enable them to earn as much as they could earn right from wherever they are. So I think that's one line of thinking that we need to begin to, to explore moving forward. So I will stop at this point. Maybe later on, I will still, throw some light on some of the things that we could do to really help the situation.
All right. Food for thought. While in school, just make sure that you start thinking about earning. And when doctor is talking about earning here, it's not about you trying to sell something in the school alone. Oh. Thinking about how you can earn outside the school, outside the country of your domain. And there's no way that you can do that without the help of technology. So absolutely, that is the exact thing that doctor is trying to say here. So while absolutely, you're trying to, you get into the school, you're trying to get your first grade, you're trying to get your first class and the likes, think tech, right? Because the thing is, by the time you think tech, you even see how you can become the best graduating student very easily while still making money. So it is possible. And that is the exact thing that doctor is trying to tell us. So even though I think doctor have tried to answer question number 2 slightly, but let me just still ask him in case there are other perspectives to it. So our next question is, why should students focus on learning the skills? The first question spoke about what is the demand for the skill set. So now that the students have great idea about the skill sets, why should they learn these skills?
Okay, thank you. Wonderful question again. I mean, the answer to the question is self-evident. I think any serious-minded undergraduate in any university today should not be thinking about just simply earning a certificate at the end of 4 or 5 years of studying. They should be thinking about how they could be useful to themselves and the society. As it is, you can't be talking about being useful to yourself and the society if at the end of your graduation you are still back to your parents' home, dragging with, every little thing that that is at home. So like I said, the answer to the question is very clear. The reason why young people need to be concerned about acquiring as much skill, technology skill, of course, but as much skills, other skills, social skill, emotional intelligence, and all that, is just so that they could be useful. And when I say useful, we can narrow it down to 2 things. Technology skill helps you, to provide solution to problems that our society or, your immediate community faces. And in trying to solve those problems, you could at the end of the day end up setting up a business, business that could sometimes become, that could eventually become as big as Facebook, as big as Google, as big as any of these big tech companies tomorrow. So that's it. The reason why young people need this tech education is just so they could leverage the power of this tech knowledge, to solve real world problems. And then in that process, create a company, hire themselves and hire others, create jobs for themselves and for others. That's one part of it. The second part of it, the second major reason why young people need to be concerned, why they need to acquire as much technology knowledge as possible, is that is based on this fact that why technology is good for startup and businesses. It's not everybody that is cut out for entrepreneurship. It's not everybody that is cut out for business. So for those who don't want to go the route of entrepreneurship, technology knowledge of technology helps them to be more valuable to employers, to be more valuable to people that want to hire people to do work for them. There is hardly any job anybody can do anywhere in the world if you don't have an appreciable knowledge of, essential technology, basic ones at least. And if you're lucky to be able to acquire a much deeper knowledge of valuable technology, your odds, of getting very good job increases astronomically. So in summary, we can say that the two major reasons, okay, there is an umbrella reason, which is the need to be useful, to be valuable. Because if you don't have this knowledge, if you don't have this skill, it's going to be difficult for you to unlock opportunities. And if you can't unlock opportunities, you're still going to remain like parasite. And nobody want to, continue to take care of parasite forever. So in order not to be parasite to anybody, in order to be useful to yourself and the society and your family, you've got to acquire skill that will make you useful, that will make you to be able to solve problems, or at least that will make you to get a good job, a job that will be able to take care of yourself, that will make it possible for you to earn enough to take care of yourself and people around you. So we can't overemphasize the importance of technology skill. It is the intent. It is. So if for instance, these days, it doesn't matter if you graduate with first class. With your first class, without the basic knowledge of technology, without ability to apply, leverage technology to add value, you are as useless as those who have never gone to school, because no employer will want to give you a chance. So most employers today want to know one thing. They don't even want to look at your paper. They don't want to look at your degree. They don't want to look at your first class. They want to look at what you can do, what you can solve. And in most cases, what you can do, what people can do today has a lot to do with ability to apply technology. So this is it. It's quite clear. It's something that young people and all of us need. Yeah.
Okay, thank you. Thank you so much, Doctor. So simply put, if you're thinking about why you should get a technology skills, I think the best reason Doctor just put to you right now is that you need to think how to solve problems. And for you to be able to solve problems, it's not by the traditional way, because problems these days are so huge and you need technology skills in order to solve it. So that's one shot for you. Let's dive into the next question. Doctor spoke about certification. Certification is one of our questions. In fact, it's the third questions that we have. And the question states that what is the thin line between having a certificate and having a technology skills. So like, to which extent do certificates helps students to achieve success? So over to you, Doctor.
Okay, thank you. I think for us to properly dissect that question, we need to think back at the origin, you know, how certification, the need for academic certificate actually came about. You know, it was just a way for people to know that you have mastered a particular field of study and that you can be of value when it comes to issues around that field of study. And having said that, you know, and the field of study then were usually, you know, you know, the field of study that I was talking about, you know, earlier on is usually, because when you look at actually education in our climate, in our kind of country, the kind of education we were, that the early kind of education we had was a set of education just to make sure, you know, colonial masters get people that could help them with the administrative stuff, you know, or industries, factories, you know, are able to get people, you know, that can handle some, you know, repetitive tasks, that could handle some structured tasks, you know, so they needed to train people. And then the only evidence of that training, the only thing that confirmed to them that you know what you are required to do when you get into a job is that paper certification. That was the in thing there. So then there was no thought of, you know, anyway, let me put it this way. But the kind of days that we live in now, the world that we live in now, is a world where the concern is not about your certification. The concern is not about your high degree. The concern is about what you can do. The concern is about the value you bring to the table. The concern is about the problem that you can solve. So that's why there are organizations, big organizations today that know that they've actually formulated a policy of not asking people for their degrees, for what they've studied. You know, there are organizations, and the trend is moving on. And in a few years from now, I'm sure that many companies around the world, many organizations are not going to be interested in your paper qualification. They will be more interested in what you can do. So having said that, certifications may be necessary just as a way to introduce yourself. You know, just to introduce yourself, just to tell people that, hey, I have studied this also field. But that's not enough. In fact, that's not even enough to get you hired. Because today, if two people comes with certificate, BSc Business Administration certificate, and one has a first class, and the other one has a third class, and the third class guy, you know, seems to me to have the skill that I need, the skill which may not necessarily be related to business administration skill or whatever, but skill that my company needs. I wouldn't mind. I will go for that guy that has the third class, because I'm looking for somebody that could bring on board to help me solve my problem, not somebody that has all the papers, that has all the paper qualifications. So while I'm not saying that paper qualification is not important, it's important, but the importance ends at some point. At some point, just to introduce you, just to let the world knows that this is who you are. But after that, the most important thing is what you can actually do, what you can actually bring to the table. So it is important that young people, especially university students, these days understand this reality, that's where the world is going. The world is not going to be as interested in your certificate as it used to be. Before, If you came up with first class or graduated first class, everybody will rush you. Everybody will, you will be the darling of all employers. But that's no longer the case today. That's no longer the case. So why this is not to say if you're in school now, you are listening to these, I will still encourage you to get the best result that you can get, to get the first class, to get at least your 2-1 or 2-2, get as best certificate as you can get. But I have to tell you, your certificate can take you only so far. What will take you further, what will really make the most impact in your life is the skill that employers require that you possess. So while you are pursuing your certification, you should also find time to acquire those skills, especially technology skills. There's a reason we're not just mentioning technology skill for the sake of it because it's the intent. Yeah, it's the intent, but it is that's the point. That's where the world is going. That's where the world is going. In a few years from now, the world is going to, be significantly transformed technology-wise. It's already happening. It's already happening. And COVID has even fast-tracked the journey, the process. The pandemic has fast-tracked the process, has even cut the number of years that we were thinking the world will need to get to that point. Because of the pandemic, people are locked up, most things have gone virtual. So which means that if you don't possess appreciable level of technology, you can't function in this world. In a world where everything is digital and you are still there thinking about, the world of 10 years, 20, 100 years ago, you will be a misfit. And there is still an opportunity not to fall into that ditch. And the opportunity is today. Take advantage of every offer, every opportunity there is to learn this skill, and then so you can function well in this world that we're talking about.
Thank you so much, Doctor. If I was just listening to Doctor and I was just thinking about some things and the kind of information that we consume these days. As a student, some of the things at this point now, you should be able to question if what you're being taught is the actual thing that you need to be hearing at that particular time. So take, for instance, if a lecturer, for instance, is teaching me something, as a student, how do I vet that thing is current? Right? How do I understand that thing that the lecturer is saying is in practice this day? Because the truth is, when it comes to technology skills, knowledges work together. It all depends on how you are able to break them down. So if there's anything you want to pick out of what Dr. have said is, beyond just learning, don't just focus on the fact that you're going to graduate and the school is going to give you a certificate. Yes, you will get the certificate. But one thing you don't want is at the end of the 4 years or 5 years, you now start earning 20,000 naira. So there's no difference between you and the person that didn't even go to school and that didn't even get the skill. So that's something that I just took note of. And I think going forward as students, we should have at the back of our mind that education truly is key. Like, going to school is fine, but what we are saying is that shouldn't be the focus alone. Because once you get the certificates, it will introduce you to the employer. But no employer is going to just employ you because you have a good certification. They are going to put you to a trial. And the moment they do, if you screw up, there's no job for you. The hunting begins, So those are the things that as students, we need to keep in our mind, that it is not about just studying. It is about putting everything we study into practice and linking our knowledge to the technology in solving problems. Thank you so much, Doctor. At this point, let's move to so we have about 2 questions more. However, Doctor have answered. So I'll try to see if I can compile the two questions into one. Okay. So, Doctor, in times like this, we know that when students are in school, they have to meet up the deadlines of their lecturers. There are just so many things going on when students are in school, which can be a very huge challenge for them to take on this technology skills. What would be your advice on how students can manage their time, even when exams are coming? How can they split this time management in order for them to achieve both success in the academics and success in learning technology skills?
Okay, thank you. Yeah, it is true that time could be an issue when people have to juggle these two important issues. But for me, the way I look at it these days, I think we always have time to pay attention to the things that we want to pay attention to. Research shows that people spend on a daily basis 4 hours on social media, Facebook, Twitter, just wasting away time. 4 hours. And another 4 hours watching television. I mean, that includes students, And so for me, frankly speaking, I think the conversation should be more about people understanding the kind of words, especially undergraduate students, understanding the kind of world that is waiting for them. The kind of world that is waiting for them is a brutal world. It's a brutal world, especially back home in Nigeria. Jobs are scarce. Even if you get one, there's no guarantee that you're going to hold it for long, because companies themselves are facing a lot of stress. So downsizing, retrenchment is an ongoing thing. So this is the kind of world that you are going to face. This is the kind of world that is waiting for you. So, and for you to survive in that world, you need to do something extraordinary. You need to work harder than any other person. You need to learn faster than any other person. So my answer to that question is that knowing the kind of world waiting for you, and as a smart person that you are as an undergraduate student, so it behoves you. It's a responsibility for you, to arrange your time, manage your time in such a way that you are able to pay attention to this other important thing that we're talking about. Pay attention to your book. Yeah, in our society, a lot of people still consider paper qualifications. So we give them, at least so that you don't fall short of that particular requirement as well. You do your best. And people have done it. Smart people have done it. They've graduated with very good results, and they also possess, significant knowledge of new technology, significant knowledge of, creative talents, significant knowledge of solutions, technology solutions that can help make things better. So just to summarize, my perspective, my belief is that we can always find time for the things that are important to us. And I can say to any young undergraduate student today that there is nothing else that is more important to you than making sure that you get a job even before you leave university. So because of the importance of that, you need to devote quality time to grooming yourself, to learning. And thank goodness, the kind of world that we live in today is that this knowledge that we're talking about is so freely out there, almost for free. Look at what Instinct Hub alone is doing. Went on its own, mobilized resources, have created opportunity for young people to be able to acquire this skill almost for free. So sometimes I wish I had this opportunity when I was at that level. So in addition to the time issue, sometimes the issue is lack of opportunity, lack of access. And then we have people like Mr. Noah and his company that are working day and night to make sure they provide this access. You know, so the issue of timing or lack of time should not even be there. Should not be there, because if you have time to do Facebook, if you have time to go to viewing center, to go and shout on football match, to go and argue on Chelsea, Man U, and people that don't even know you, you should also have time to work on preparing for the future that is waiting for you, on acquiring skills that you will need to survive on in a few years from now. So time shouldn't be an excuse at all. It shouldn't be. It shouldn't be. Yes, thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. Time shouldn't be an excuse. You see, just to add to what Doctor said, there is no, I don't think there's the best time that you're going to have time. Like, there is no, if you're waiting for when you will have time, that time would never come.
Sure.
In other words, you have to keep making out time. In one of our videos, one of the tips I gave is, instead of you having a to-do list, you rather have not to-do list.
Sure.
So if by 4 o'clock you're going to be watching TV, ask yourself, do you really need that TV? So by the time you have a not to-do list, it helps you to already strike out things that you won't do within your 24 hours. So
Absolutely.
like Doctor said, you have to make out this time. You have to make out this time. And I believe that after listening to this, you will, of course, make out time. All right. So
and maybe I should quickly add
okay,
that
go ahead, sir.
You know, the consequence of not making out the time is so life-threatening that you don't want to even think about it. But sometimes people don't respond to some of these conversations that we're having, but you just need to remind them of what is out there, what is waiting for them. The consequence is so massive. I mean, if you have, you need to speak with people that are jobless for years or that are underemployed to be able to actually understand what we're talking about, to be able to, really, appreciate what it means to be out there, to be roaming the street. So the consequence of not making the time while you have it now, of not deploying the time to something qualitative, something that will help you survive the future, the consequence is not one that you want to think about. It's so dehumanizing. So if you're not going to take anything from this conversation that we've had today, but please take this particular one, that we all have 24 hours in a day. And there are some of your mates in the same school that you are in and in other part of the world that are making out time, that are blocking off time to invest in themselves, to acquire these skills. These are the people that you're going to be dragging job with tomorrow. And these people are preparing while you are wasting away your time, watching TV 10 hours a day, partying day and night, spending your entire day on Facebook and Instagram. These guys are blocking off time and they are preparing. They are acquiring all the skills that are necessary. The same time that you keep telling people you don't have to listen to YouTube, videos teaching you about the particular technology. You don't have time to sign up for, great opportunity that Instinct Hub is providing. You don't have all this time. So I like to tell people, just imagine how things will be 1 year from now. How things will be to a large extent. Of course, we know God is the one overseeing everything. Nobody can say they know how things will be or how the future will be. But to a large extent, your preparation today matters. The way you spend your time today matters. So if you're spending your time on things that are not contributing to unlocking opportunities for you tomorrow, then you should be prepared for what you get when that tomorrow comes. So that's what I just thought I should add.
Okay, thank you so much. I think that point is well noted. And I believe that the students will actually work on it. So the truth is, make our time so you don't regret tomorrow. That's another way of putting it. Just make our time today so that you smile tomorrow. Because if you don't, of course, you know the other way around. All right, we've been speaking for like almost 1 hour now. And so this is the last question for you, Doctor. Before we allow you to go. Meanwhile, in case you're wondering where is Doctor speaking from, Doctor is talking to us from Malaysia. So he's talking to us all the way. You mentioned something about things that you would have done when you were in school. So let's just take it back a bit. What are those things that you imagine if you had this kind of information that you have right now? What are those things you think you would have done when you were in school?
Okay. First of all, I have to say I am grateful to God for everything that He has given me, and even for things that He didn't give me, He hasn't given me. But then, as a human being, sometimes it's not even sometimes. It's a good practice to reflect. It's a good practice to recount, to go down the memory lane and imagine how things could have been if you had taken some decisions. So to be honest with you, back in the early 2000s, when I was an undergraduate, I started my undergraduate degree in the year 2000. I graduated, in 2005. So even though back then, those years, technology skills or technology generally has not gained the kind of popularity it has gained today. Even then, even though it hasn't gained this kind of popularity, I still feel that if I had paid more attention to this sphere, to this space, if I had not only paid attention, gone on, to acquire the skill in a more meaningful way, I think I would have broken, better ground or more ground, as of today. So while I'm not necessarily regretting, I'm just saying that, based on my experience, based on, how things were, in those years, and based on the opportunities there are today, based on the opportunities the world brings to university students today, is nothing compared to the kind of opportunities that we had like 20 years ago. So when you have opportunity, what do you do with it? You leverage it, you take advantage of it. So now that this opportunity is there, this access to training, access to acquiring, 21st century skill that the world requires, skill that will make you live your dream. The opportunity is there. Why wait? Why are you waiting? Why not take advantage of it today? So the way I'll answer that question is to put it in form of the fact that I didn't have the opportunity that most young people have today. Opportunity in terms of, the ubiquity, in terms of the level of availability of access, to gain this knowledge. That time that I was talking about when I was in school, I mean, you could almost count the number of people that even have a desktop. You could count it. Universities didn't have ICT center. There was nothing like computer center, So even if I wanted to acquire those skills,
environment.
option, the environment was just so limited.
Yeah.
We're just so limited, but the situation is different today. I know in many universities in Nigeria and even some part of the world, the ICT center, the computer centers were actually, bribing students to come and acquire the skill that this same student needs to survive tomorrow. That's the reality that we are facing today. Look at the kind of some of the challenge that we face trying to get students to actually sign up for the wonderful program that you're doing.
Yeah, actually.
Whenever I think about things like that, I almost cry, because I'm just like, this is like a goal. This is like a goal. People are just handing this key to the future that every young people dream about. This is the key, and you are not grabbing this key with two hands, for God's sake. So that's actually the way I will answer the question, that there are opportunities the world presents to young people today. Of course, there are challenges that the world also gives young people today, but we should always think in terms of the positive, the opportunities that we have that we could leverage. So please, let's take advantage of all these opportunities. I was discussing with my wife the other time that, look at YouTube, for instance. YouTube is supposed to be paid for. That's like a university on its own. During my time, 2000 to 2004, there was no YouTube.
Where do you want to see?
There was no YouTube. So that's what I'm talking about. That's one huge opportunity out there for any young person.
There wasn't even Google.
There wasn't even Google. For any young person to take advantage of and improve their life and actually put themselves in a position to be able to assess some of the other life-changing opportunities that the world has for us.
Thank you so much, Doctor. As Doctor is just talking, I just remember a conversation I had with a friend when he was telling me that around 2014, 2013, then when he goes to some seminar, he gets to see people begging people to start interacting with the social media. Then nobody saw it that followers can become something that you can monetize.
Yes.
Right? Like it was then when they were, today, the guy that was telling me is not really on social media, but I could see the pain when he was narrating it because he didn't yield to the advice then, right?
Yes.
Right now, with pools of followers, you can start earning passive income without you making any effort at all.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So, and that's what we are saying right now. We do not even know, we advocating, we do not even know what the tomorrow is. Like, we can't really tell precisely what tomorrow is. But what we know is that once you get yourself engrossed in it, there's always a share for you when the time comes. So, and that's how we're going to wrap it up for this session. But before we wrap it up, I'll just allow Doctor to, I don't know if there are any other thing that we didn't even mention that you just feel like saying so that others can also benefit from it.
Okay, just to wrap, I think what I'll end with is that the way this life is structured, people may help you, but ultimately, people may help you, government may help you if you have a responsible one, they may come to your aid, but ultimately, you're on your own. This life, it's up to you to make it whichever way you want to make it. So this issue that we're talking about here, I also wish that during my time, there was a forum. There were people that had this initiative to bring this kind of insight to my attention. Perhaps, I would have been inspired to do more, to learn more, to reach out for more. But then again, it's still up to me with the limited knowledge that I had. I still took matters into my hand and said that there was nobody to wait for. There was no university administrator to wait for. There was no big uncle anywhere. It is going to be up to me. And that's the same message I want to pass on to young people today. You know, it's not up to your parents, it's not up to your vice chancellor, it's not up to anybody, it's ultimately in your hand. Whichever way you want your 2 years, 3 years, or 5 years to look like is ultimately about the decision that you are making today. So if you don't take that responsibility to go out there and learn what you need to learn to be better, if you are still waiting for some magic, for some manners to fall from heaven from somewhere, you're going to wait for a very long time. So just to wrap it all, is about taking responsibility for your life. It's about doing all that you can do within your power from where you are, with whatever you have, to make sure you live a better life tomorrow. So that's the message I think I will leave, our young people with.
Thank you so much, Doctor. The decisions you take today determines the results you will get tomorrow. Thank
Definitely.
you so much, and we really appreciate your contribution. Just to wrap this up, one thing about wanting to know about the technology space is there's no latecomer in tech, right?
Sure.
Don't think about, oh, where do I start from right now? Just start somewhere. Start with the immediate resources that you have and ask questions at every point in your journey. Do not feel shy. Do not feel as if somebody will look at you downward because you're asking questions. Ask as many questions as you can and make good use of answers that you get. So if you'd like to know more about Doctor, the link to Doctor's profile on LinkedIn will be embedded with the description of this video. So just check him up and follow him. And I believe that you can ask him questions and he's going to really provide you answers. So like I said, that's how we wrap it up on this one. Thank you so much, Doctor. And of course, I'll see you some other time.
And thank you so much, Mr. Noah, for all that you are doing. I think you are a change maker.
Thank you so much.
I know for sure, deeply within me, that you're doing this from the conviction in your heart that this is the way to go. And I agree with you. And I mean, I just appreciate the kind of energy you are putting into getting people to see what you see. And I can confirm to you, what you're seeing is the correct thing. You're deploying all your energy. I want to thank you for the wonderful work that you're doing personally. And I want to thank Instinct Hub for all the amazing thing they are doing. Personally, I have to also share this with your audience, that in many ways, you have inspired me to dream more, to go further. Since the day I signed up and you train us on, developing our, how is it called, portfolio,
yes.
Something. Since that day, that was, the training lasted for a few days, but I can tell you the inspiration, the nuggets that I got from it, opened my eyes to a whole lot of other things. And if I have to draft my CV before and after, as far as tech is concerned, you would have seen the dramatic differences, the significant changes, the positive changes that you have made. So I want to thank you personally. And also I have to add, it's not just about, I haven't been the only one that has benefited from your very big heart. My entire family, my wife, my children, they are all, taking your courses and we're seeing the result. We're seeing the result. Thank you so much. We're grateful.
Thank you so much, Doctor. Thank you. The story between Doctor and I didn't just start now. It has been for a while, and one of the reasons why we actually invited him to talk to us. So thank you so much, Doctor, and my regards to the family, and do have a lovely evening.
Thank you. Yeah, my regards to yours too.
All right, sir.
All right. Thank you.